Good morning. I'm John Jones, Chairman of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the notice and public posting provisions of the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act. This meeting is an in-person meeting open to the public for observation and is also being live streamed and recorded for remote viewing. Time is 10 a.m. and I'm calling the May 5th, 2026 regular meeting of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority to order. Charity, please call the roll.
Mr. Walberry.
Here.
Mr. Todd Cone.
Here.
Mr. David Madkin.
Here.
Mr. John Fitzworth.
Here.
Ms. Dana Weber.
Here.
Mr. John Jones.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. First thing I want to do is thank the city of McAlester for being so gracious to allow us to host our meeting here, and for the city council allow us to use their chambers. Very, very nice. We appreciate being down here and seeing McAlester a little bit more close up. First item I think we need to do is recognitions. Joe, you had some comments you wanted to make?
Yeah, so this last week, I think it's been now 2 weeks ago, we did the Wellston ribbon cutting, and I think we've got a video queued up that's gonna play. Yep, let's go ahead and roll it. Pretty significant project, got it open to traffic a few months ago and had all the artwork complete, and so we wanted to highlight that in this video.
Today is a big day. We are out here in Wellston, Oklahoma, and we are celebrating the ribbon cutting of our new bridge along I-44, the Turner Turnpike, as well as new artwork that is installed here in Wellston.
3, 2, 1.
This is one of the biggest crowds that we've had ever at a ribbon cutting for any project. Super excited to celebrate Route 66. Take a drive down it.
This was the last fractured critical bridge on the interstate system. It's really important to update it to newer standards where it's safer for the traveling public.
Route 66 means more to Oklahoma than most other Route 66 states because we have more drivable miles of Route 66 than any other state.
So about 4 years ago, we were at a crossroads on this project, talking about what can we do to replace that without really impacting both the local streets or even the turnpike traffic. And how fast can we get it done?
A project like this is the culmination of incredible partnerships.
All of the partnership, Wellston, the county, our state delegation, the Arts Council, without their support, we wouldn't have been able to do a project that was so innovative.
For 100 years, Route 66 has told the story of America, linking small towns to big opportunities and helping shape our national economy. On behalf of the U.S. Department of Transportation, we are proud to partner with Oklahoma to keep the Mother Road strong for the next century.
But I'm going to tell you right now that this right here will be one of the new iconic stops on Route 66 in the United States.
The works we dedicate this morning, You Are Here, which is right behind me, Harvest and Highway, and Relics and Reed, stand behind us as a bold, vibrant addition to this landscape. Today reflects what is possible when the public sector, community leaders, artists, and community members come together with a shared vision.
We are often inspired by sort of the environment that a piece is going to live in. So our first inspiration was the plant life that is both naturally occurring here and then that is cultivated. The circular designs that are sprinkled throughout our project are based off of rims from the 1920s to the 2020s.
If we can get people to stop, slow down, take a selfie, spend money in the community, it's only helping the small business owners in the state.
Us investing more into Route 66 and people stopping and everything, it's just to help tourism all the way around. And it's super cool that this is right here in my hometown.
Thank you for your support for investments like this right here on the ground in the state of Oklahoma.
So I want to give just a recap. I mean, it is a big deal to have the Federal Highway Administration's administrator in Oklahoma for a visit, let alone to come and speak at a ribbon cutting. We lined the ribbon cutting up with the Oklahoma Centennial meeting that they had, And we were able to attend that actually the following day and I sat on one of the panels. Route 66 is a big deal. We're blessed in Oklahoma to have so many drivable miles, and we encourage, just as the video has said, encourage people that are visiting Oklahoma to take a drive down Route 66, visit some of the small communities, and if you get a chance, stop in Wellston and get a selfie with the pin drop. Special recognition though to the team that put together the ribbon cutting. Well, the team that built the project, the team that put together the ribbon cutting, but most notably I want to recognize Lisa and Jessica for all the work that they did. Got so many compliments from members of the public, other people that attended the meeting, the speakers that were there, or that attended the ribbon cutting, and so thank you for all of your hard work on that project. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I want to recognize a couple of guests that are with us this morning. First of all, Pittsburgh County District 2 County Commissioner Mike Haynes and Pittsburgh County District 3 County Commissioner Ross Selman. Thank you for joining us this morning. I think all members of the board have been provided copies of the minutes for our meeting we had on April 7th, 2026. Assume that we've all gone over that, and I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. Please vote appropriate. Charity, please call a voice vote. Thank you.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cohn.
Yes.
Mr. Madigan.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes. Thank you. That's been approved. First items of business this morning are from the finance item area. Mr. Todd Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first item, 1392, Michael Gardner will present that.
Good morning, Chairman Jones, members of the authority. Item number 1392 is the payment register prepared by the Comptroller Division. This includes all payments made by the authority for the month of March 2026. Staff has reviewed this item and recommends approval.
Any questions?
No.
If there are none, Mr. Chairman, I would move for approval of item 1392 as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion for approval of item 1392. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Charity, please call a roll vote.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cohn.
Yes.
Mr. Madigan.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes. That concludes the finance items. Our next items are in the maintenance, engineering, right-of-way, and construction portion. Mr. Vice Chairman Will Berry.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. Item 1393 will be presented by Mr. Butler.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Berry. Good morning to you. Great to see everyone this morning. Engineering Division has one item we'd like to present for consideration today. That's item 1393. This has three parts to it, three construction project parts to it. I'll go through each of the three and make a recommendation for approval at the end. First project here is IN 36602A. This is State Highway 63 interchange at Blanco. This is on the Indian Nation Turnpike, and this is one of our access bond programs. This project includes the construction of a new full diamond interchange at State Highway 63 near Blanco on the Indian Nation Turnpike near milepost 55 in Pittsburgh County. The work includes grading, drainage, surfacing, tolling, signing, lighting, and resurfacing of State Highway 63 within the limits of the interchange. We had 7 good bids on the project. Low bidder was Manhattan Road and Bridge, the amount of $9,058,719.80. This is about 13.9% below the engineer's estimate. Any questions on that? Our second project is CMC 40. This is shoulder and guardrail reconstruction. This is a capital plan project. This project includes shoulder and guardrail reconstruction on the Cimarron Turnpike spur from milepost 19.74A to milepost 28A. This is in Payne County. Had 6 bidders on the project. Our low bidder was TJ Campbell Construction, the amount of $5,424,066, and this one's about 13% below the engineer's estimate. Any questions? Okay. Our third project, this is a tied project of 2 projects, which are item C75 and item C76, and this is these are capital plan projects as well. This is rehabilitation of Turnpike Overbridge 75.83 over 10 Mile Creek located at milepost 28.2, and TPO Bridge 92.67 over Dumpling Creek at milepost 11.61, and this is in Pushmataha County. The rehabilitation includes removal and replacement of concrete decks, parapets, concrete beams, bearing assemblies, and repairs to the substructures. Had 5 bidders on the project. Frontier Bridge Incorporated was our low bidder in the amount of $5,671,867.81. This is about 3.8% below the engineer's estimate. Any questions?
Not a question, but a comment. I think it's great to see that they're all well under our engineer's estimate, but I think it's even better to see the amount of bids that you're getting on them.
Yeah.
To show that, you know, they're competitive.
That's right, yeah,
So-
and we're, you know, we've been letting out a lot of construction projects, we've got a lot more we're gonna be letting to construction. So at some point, you know, you wonder if industry can keep up, they're keeping up just fine right now.
They seem to
So,
be.
yeah.
And that's encouraging.
That's correct, yeah. But staff's reviewed all 3 of these bids, scrutinized the bids, we recommend approval on all 3.
Are there any questions, comments? If not, I make a motion to approve this item as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion for approval of item 1393. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tisworth. Charity, please call a vote roll.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. Item 1393 has been approved.
Next item is item 1394, will be presented by Mr. Jeff Gardner.
Yep, good morning, Chairman Jones, members of the board. Good seeing you guys this morning. And I just have one item with 2 change orders on it. Let's see. Yeah, so presented for consideration of the authorities request that the following change orders be approved. Of these change orders, 2 adds new items to compensate the contractor for additional work. 1 overruns existing items due to the site requirements. And this item has been reviewed by staff and is recommended for approval, and be happy to answer any questions you have on either one.
What does the MUTCD mean?
Stands for the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and it's kind of the standard for how traffic control and temporary traffic control should be set up on projects.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of words.
That is a lot of words. I'm glad you didn't type it out. Are there any questions or comments for this? If not, I make a motion that we approve items 1394 as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion for approval of item 1394. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Jerry, please call the vote roll.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yeah.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. Item 1394 has been approved. Our next item is on the agenda, or the report information section. Our first report is our Highway Patrol report, Captain Derek Griffith.
Good morning. So this is going to be the March 2026 Oklahoma Highway Patrol Turnpike report. For the month of March, troopers made 5,969 violator contacts. They assisted 1,294 motorists and investigated 165 motor vehicle collisions, with 3 of those being fatality collisions. Troopers worked 1,281 shifts and averaged 229 miles per shift for a total of 293,373 miles driven. The 3 fatalities recorded on the turnpike system were 1 on the Indian Nation Turnpike, which is the one right out here in McAlester. The driver was killed when the vehicle caught fire after striking a semi in the rear that was parked on the shoulder of the road. It is unknown whether or not that occupant was wearing a safety belt or not. On the Kickapoo Turnpike, we had a driver killed after striking another vehicle with a trailer in the rear. That vehicle ended up directly under the trailer. Seatbelt was not in use in that collision. And the other fatal collision was on the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. The driver was killed when the vehicle departed the roadway, hit the guardrail, and went down an embankment. Seatbelt was not in use. We had 17 shifts worked on the Muskogee, Indian Nation, and Creek Turnpikes for special emphasis. And on those shifts, 396 violators were contacted. Troopers issued 76 citations and 320 warnings for an average of 23.3 contacts per shift. There were no drug interdictions. We did schedule 3 aircraft assignments. We had 3 canceled due to weather, but we did have a 2-hour assignment out here on the Indian Nation that did result in some contacts. Is there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We always make a comment, I know Director Kelly does, and Secretary Gatz, and we always want to encourage the public, be sure and put your seatbelt on. It's the first thing you ought to do when you get in your vehicle and shut the door. It's awful when we have to hear about the fatalities, and we need to do everything we can to do our best not to have them. But our next item is consulting engineering report, Mr. Jimmy Sparks.
Good morning, Chairman Jones, members of the authority, Director Kelly. Concerning the trust required services, our 2026 in-service facility inspections are underway, and again, we always point to the updating of the capital plan every year. So when I talk about, and I talk about it often, the results of OTA's aggressive capital reinvestment program and how we are seeing our assets often improve with their ratings in the older facilities. Wanted to highlight some of the work that's gone in on the Indian Nation, and a lot of it since 2018, so in a fairly short time frame. So in that, I showed that our summary shows that we've completed 24 projects at a total construction value of over $160 million. That includes 9 bridge projects, and some of those, maybe like the one awarded today, had 2 bridges in it, so I didn't have the total number of bridges, but quite a reinvestment. 6 pavement restoration projects, and the completion of the median cable barrier along the entire length of the turnpike. So we also have 10 more projects planned in the current capital plan at an estimate of another $80 million in construction dollars. And then there are 3 more interchange projects that are part of the access program in addition to what was awarded today. And those are about $20 million. So we're seeing, a lot of investment on this turnpike. And wanted to go back, and I think I highlighted this kind of system-wide several months ago, but the ODOT site, they capture distress survey for both pavement condition and ride quality, or the International Roughness Index, and that's what the driver feels. So that data is available from 21 to 24. 25 data should be available soon, but in 2021, the Indian Nation had 33 lane miles categorized as poor, according to the Federal Pavement Condition Index, and over 38 lane miles in poor condition according to the ride quality. So fast forward through a few projects we talked about in 2024, there were no miles in the poor categories according to the Pavement Condition Index, and down to 20 miles in the IRI. And I think we've had a diamond grind project since then, so that number is going to continue to go down. And I can update that when the 2025 data becomes available. So so not only the asset conditions have we seen with the reinvestment, just the safety with the cable barrier, with the all electronic tolling, even the service closet that's about 10 years old now, just the safety in and out of that. So the reinvestment really pays off when you look at that. In April, we checked 53 special overloads, and we know, become more aware of all the say oversized loads that travel in the turnpike system, that a lot of important loads out there, and so getting back to the safe pavement conditions. As always, our capital plan project summary is in our monthly report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Jimmy. Our next report is our trustee report, Ms. Rachel Singleton.
Good morning, Chairman Jones, members of the authority, Director Kelly. As bond trustee to the authority, all monthly debt service transfers were made for the semi-annual payments to the bondholders as required by the trust indenture. To our knowledge, all other requirements set forth under the trust agreement have been satisfied, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Rachel. Our next report is the operating results, Ms. Wendy Smith.
Chairman Jones, members of the authority, Director Kelly, you've all received your operations report for March prepared by the Comptroller Division. Toll revenues for the month of March came in fairly flat, as did the traffic as compared to March of 2025. But the year-to-date does continue to be about 2% above last year. We are going to keep a really close eye on traffic over the summer, especially as Memorial Weekend is sort of that unofficial start of vacation season, but with gas prices being so high, it's not like this is the first time this has happened. We'll keep a really close eye on that and then get back to you on anything that we see that is concerning. Also, division managers continue to keep their spending down, and that continues to keep our debt ratios in check. So I'll take any questions. No one's had any yet.
Any thoughts or questions? Good report, thank you. Our next report is the Director Report, Director Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that I'm gonna do this a little bit out of order of what I have on here, but if we can queue up or get ready to play the video for Enid. A few weeks ago, we had a significant tornado that really just went right around Enid, clipped one neighborhood severely. The reports that I've heard was that it was an EF3 tornado, but it caused EF4 damage. And we got the call from emergency management to see if we were able to assist, and OTA, along with the Department of Transportation, has been working in the area the last week and still ongoing a little bit this week, trying to clear some of the debris. So we're always proud to help. Unfortunately, in Oklahoma, we are in Tornado Alley, so when things like this happen, the town of Enid is not set up in a way that they can manage a cleanup of this magnitude and of this severity. So they reach out to us. We have track codes, we have dump trucks. We need direct access to their to where they want the debris hauled off, and then we try to assist. We have a couple of basic rules that we try to follow. We stay really near to the roadways, so our first goal is to get the city streets and county roads opened up where they're directing us to help. And after the first day of clearing some streets, we kind of reached everything that we could reach. We came back the next day, and the property owners had pushed more and drug more debris up next to the road and flagged us down to see if we could haul some more off for them. And so we've continued to help with that in Enid to really accelerate the ability for them to do an effective cleanup. When it's a bigger storm that affects a larger portion of a community, lots of contractors show up to help assist, and there's FEMA reimbursement and things like that. But this storm really hit one neighborhood really, really hard, and so in communication with the city and emergency management, they're just not seeing a big FEMA push or a bunch of contractors showing up. So we're excited to help. We've also been reached out to. I think the day after the tornado in Enid, there was a tornado or some really strong wind. I don't know if it was a tornado or not in southeastern Oklahoma, down around Antlers and Toka area, and so we've been in communication with emergency management on that storm as well, and we'll work with ODOT's district to assist in any way that we can. But again, we have equipment and we have the manpower, so when we can help, we try. And it's something that we're really proud to do, that we've done for a long time with the Turnpike Authority, because we have all of the necessary stuff. So far in Enid, we've had 12 of our employees. We've worked about 581 hours, and we've hauled off 175 loads. Jeremy, is that still?
After yesterday, we're up to 230 or 40 loads hauled off now.
Jeremy's saying 230 loads approximately that were hauled off, including working through yesterday, and that's parlayed with ODOT's number of loads, and I think they were at 300 at the end of last week in that area.
Yes, sir. They've got a few more trucks up there than we do. They've hauled probably about 30% more.
Yeah. So making a big difference. The town of Enid put out a press release this morning or late yesterday. I think it was yesterday, that said that really, thanked the Turnpike Authority and really appreciate the board's support on things like that we do.
Jeff, I can say something that, as a board member, it really makes me very proud when we do things like this. I know even in places like Tulsa, where we have a lot of equipment for them. We're still not prepared for big events, and Turnpike Authority has stepped up and showed up in Tulsa too on many occasions when we have either tornadoes or strong winds, which we didn't get there too. So thank you, and I really am pleased to see you continue to do this for our state.
Thanks to Jeremy.
Yes.
All the
Thanks to
assistants, Trent,
Jeremy's team.
everybody that's working on that. So, I wanted to provide a construction update since the last board meeting. We are approaching heavy construction season across the whole state. Last month, we talked about work zone safety a lot, all month long. And we've got several projects, two reinvestment projects that were awarded this morning. Thank you for that, on the Indian Nation Turnpike. And just as Jimmy pointed out, that we've done a lot of work on the Indian Nation Turnpike in the last really decade. A lot of work on the surface, to the surfaces, lots of bridges, lots of cable barrier. We're adding new interchanges. Since we've gone cashless on our network, we can put interchanges where they need to be. And so completing the interchange at Indianola is a big deal. Being from McAlester, and anybody that's from here or driven from here routinely toward Tulsa or Oklahoma City taking the Indian Nation Turnpike has seen traffic go the wrong way on the ramps to access that area in northern Pittsburgh County. That is not safe to do. So what we've been working towards since we've gone cashless is to get the other set of ramps put in at that location. We're also doing a project down at Blanco to put in a diamond interchange at Blanco that'll better serve that area. I think right now, I haven't driven it recently, but if you were in Blanco and you tried to get to McAlester, it's probably a 35 or 40 minute drive, and this should shorten that down to 10 or 15 minutes. And it's a direct straight shot, so it'll be a major improvement. We're adding fiber optic down to that location, so we'll be able to properly do our tolling in that area, but excited to get that project underway. Work's slated to begin in late summer of this year and take about a year to complete. We'll have lane closures in that area. It'll be narrowed for throughput traffic, and of course a lot of construction will be seen from State Highway 63, a lot of trucks entering and leaving off the state highway down there. So the public needs to be on the lookout for that. We've got another interchange slated for 2029 at Tannehill Road, which is just a few miles north of McAlester. The reason that we're trying to put these in, multiple reasons. We should have good connections that connect to the state highway system and to areas, but a bigger issue just for the Turnpike Authority is when we have a major accident on our network, we need the ability to move traffic around that's stuck in a backup, and having more interchanges every few miles will be really handy. The other one, routinely, highway patrol or maintenance workers will use the cut-throughs and the cable to get turned around. Well, I'd really like us not to have to do that. I'd rather have an interchange that's close enough that you can take a safe exit and make a safe turnaround to go the other direction. And so if we can have those every 5, 6, 7, 8 miles on the network, maybe we'll have less people try to make that turnaround. Our people, highway patrol, are trained to do that, but routinely, the public will miss an exit and they'll see one of those cut-throughs and try to make that turn. And unfortunately, we've had some really bad accidents on throughout the Turnpike network. So adding extra interchanges should mitigate that issue. Another big one, and I know we got to visit with the McAlester Army Ammunition Plant about this particular project, but at the US 69 Indian Nation Turnpike interchange, when that was first opened, the Turnpike Authority built the 69 concrete underneath. The railroad parallels the 69 highway on the west side, and so we built an interchange that is interchange heavy on the east side of 69. What that created was a stop condition where you have to turn across US 69 traffic to make a couple of the movements. Not safe, especially with the amount of truck traffic that we're seeing, and especially that some of that truck traffic is not familiar with the area, trying to make it quickly across oncoming traffic is not safe. So we've got a major project that we're partnering with the Department of Transportation on to make a major improvement at US 69 to build a full clover leaf. If you want an idea of what that should look like when it's complete, it would be similar to the 270-69 interchange out here by headed toward Krebs. So no more crossing traffic. That's the most important thing. Much safer. Also got a bridge rehabilitation project approved today. In the olden days when we were building bridges, we weren't using epoxy coated steel and the decks were thinner. So the salt that we use to keep the road safe during a snow and ice event has gotten down into that concrete and starts weathering the steel. It rusts and it starts popping the deck off, and we've got a lot of bridges all over our network from the 60s and 70s that were built that are getting potholes in the bridge deck. So these bridge rehab projects that we've been trying to do a few per year were kind of put on hold while we were addressing the Dow bar retrofit and diamond grind, doing the surfaces. Now we're coming really hard at getting a lot of bridge rehabilitations done. We're taking the opportunity to put a thicker deck, all epoxy coated steel in the bridge deck, and so they should last much longer and not have the maintenance issues. So excited to have some more of those on the Indian Nation and throughout our network in the coming months and the coming lettings. So 2 more of those. I don't know if it was in Jimmy's list, but our maintenance guys a few years ago did a bridge rehab out here near Haywood on the Indian Nation Turnpike. It was pretty major that just the maintenance guys were able to do. So always excited when they're able to make a major improvement like that. And just as Jimmy said, I mean, since we're in McAlester, I think it's important to point out that the Indian Nation was built 60 plus years ago. But we're still reinvesting in it today, and just in the last decade, $134 million put back into it. That's construction cost. I don't know that that's capturing the engineering, the necessary right-of-way, and then the future projects that we have coming. So we're really trying to make a major effort. I know that 10 years ago or so, the legislature passed a law to move over and don't drive in the left lane, to stay in the right-hand lane except for to pass. And when that law passed, we had some complaints came into the Turnpike Authority about, well, I can't drive in the right lane. It's so rough. It beats my car up. And so we visited with the Highway Patrol and said, are y'all writing that ticket on the Indian Nation Turnpike? And they said, no, as long as they're not holding traffic up or stacking, we're not issuing that ticket. But it was just a reminder to us that we need to take care of our pavements. So we did this big Dow bar retrofit program that came through and ground the whole surface, and now it's much smoother, as is reflected in Jimmy's numbers. A few months ago, shifting gears a little bit, a few months ago we talked about that since we've gone cashless, we're able to raise the limit, increase the limit on the width of over width loads, permitted loads that drive on the Turnpike system. Our restriction in the past was when you had to go through a cash toll plaza, they were only 11 or 12 feet wide or 12 and a half feet wide, and so you couldn't fit a 13-foot load through the 13-foot wide load through those cash toll plazas. So Jimmy and his team, the Olson team, have been looking at all the measurements of all the narrowest points on our Turnpike network. We're working with the Department of Transportation and their size and weights area to put in the proper load restrictions for all of our turnpikes. We've increased that to match the interstate standard that you have on I-35 and I-40, which is up to 16 feet, yes, right? And so we implemented that just a couple of months ago, and I'm pleased to say that we have had 374 trucks that have driven the Turnpike that would have been pushed off onto probably narrow 2-lane rural highways. I drive Highway 99 north of Stroud. There's no shoulder, and it's routine that there's a 20-foot or 16 or 18-foot wide load coming down a narrow 2-lane road. We want to get as many of those. We want to increase the safety on the rural 2 lanes by allowing as wide a traffic as we can to use the Turnpike system. And we work with the Department of Transportation because sometimes we get what we call mega loads that come across the state. You have lots of axles. They're really heavy usually if they're really big, and sometimes they're really, really wide. So we've worked on some things for NASA to get things across the state before. Windmill blades, you name the big loads. We want them to drive on the turnpike system. So we're excited to continue to implement that, and we'll continue to report back to the board as we continue to see more and more of these larger loads driving the turnpike. My weeks are all off here, but I think it's been 2 weeks ago now that Jordan Purdue, our OTA's senior bond analyst, spoke at the state treasurer's first Oklahoma, it's the inaugural Oklahoma Public Finance Alliance. He sat on a panel for other cities and communities that don't sell bonds as routinely as we do. We're really good at it. We're familiar with getting in the market and all the steps that you have to do. So Jordan sat on a panel with Todd Russ and the financial director for the city of Oklahoma City. It's also routinely in the bond market. Answered some questions on the panel, but then took questions from the public, and I just really think Jordan did a great job, and we're blessed to have Jordan, Wendy, and her entire crew that work on the finance side, and all the help that Julie and her team provide. We were able to do that with Jordan, or Jordan was able to sit on that panel a couple weeks ago and just did a phenomenal job. So we're also just trying to help other communities that are looking at getting in the bond market and help them get through some of those steps. Some of the do's and don'ts is kind of what Jordan went through on that panel. We always talk about safety, but I'm going to hold that to the end because we do have a couple special guests, Mr. Chairman, and if we could, if the county commissioners that I know we're partnering on a few different projects, maybe wanted to say a few things to address the board today.
Please.
Commissioner? Or Commissioner?
You're two, then three.
Commissioner Haynes?
Well, I'd just like to say I appreciate what you guys are fixing to do down at Blanco and that deal right there beside the Army base. Before I was commissioner, I run that a lot, out of the Forest Service. Lots of accidents right there. When we come off the base, that's going to be a lifesaver for a bunch of folks. And like I said, I just appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, along the same lines, it would be a lot less stress on our county roads, because my area, north and west, a lot of oil field activity, a lot of trucks, and they are pounding me like crazy, especially now. So it would be very nice to have them, just pick one road coming in to an area instead of going all of them up. This may be a downside, but I'm gonna hand you this.
Looks like I'm getting served here.
Well, you remember a few years ago when y'all took all the dirt off for the cables?
Yes, sir.
Kind of blowed me up, and I had to fix that on my own.
Got it.
I thought I was told I was going to get that help, but I didn't get it. It was about $31,000 worth. So I didn't want that to happen again, and I'm just trying to be diplomatic about it. I've got a contract there if y'all would look that over.
Good. Absolutely will.
Appreciate any help.
I'll visit with TJ. TJ was the one I think that was instrumental on it, but I'll get back with him and Trent, and we'll get your questions answered.
I apologize my dress. I'm on the campaign trail, so I'm not the board. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all though. It's going to be a great help, and safety wise too, and ambulances and fire trucks getting out to our remote places will help law enforcement too. Y'all don't have to weave through 15, 20 miles of dirt road. Anyway, thank y'all, appreciate it.
Yeah, I didn't mention that earlier, but adding new interchanges totally changes emergency management for whatever the response time. It makes it totally different when you can take an interstate, basically, the Indian Nation Turnpike is not an interstate, but it meets interstate standard in most aspects, and to be able to have that for emergencies is extremely important. And I think the last thing, Mr. Chairman, that I had on my agenda was to talk just a little bit about safety. Just as I said, we've just completed our annual work zone safety awareness public education campaign that reminds motorists to please slow down and pay attention on our work zones. Your chances of having an accident double when you enter a work zone, and it's just because the speed limit is lower, the lanes are narrower, and the traffic pattern can change daily. OTA will have more than 30 work zones throughout the summer months, as well as temporary maintenance work zones, hundreds and hundreds of temporary maintenance work zones across the Turnpike network. So we're asking everyone to please put away your phones and distractions, slow down, and not follow too closely, because the life you save may be your own or one of the folks that are working out on the Turnpike. It's also coming into the spring and the weather's warming up. We're starting to see lots more motorcycles out on the roadways. Not so many on the turnpikes, but for sure on the state highway system. People headed to the mountains, headed to Arkansas, or just out on their drives on Route 66. So please, you're taught in driver's ed to look both ways for a car before you pull out, but remember to look both ways and actively look for a motorcycle as well. Ultimately, safe driving and riding practices, as well as cooperation from all road users, will help reduce the number of fatalities and injuries on our state's highways and turnpikes. A great way for riders to get up to speed on motorcycle safety is through the Safe Riders course offered by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. It's a great course that introduces numerous techniques to help keep riders safe on our highways. You can look up OHP online for how to register for the courses. And we want to encourage all motorists to wear their seat belts, and if you're on a motorcycle, please wear a helmet. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll answer any questions the board might have.
Any questions?
I just have a couple comments. Number one, we read a lot about what you do in your report in our regular meetings, but it is really nice. I enjoyed your report. It's really nice to get to know more about all the things that you guys are doing and all the activities that you're involved in. The second thing I'd like to say is that it's really been, I love having these off-site meetings because it gives me an excuse to come to parts of the state I don't always get to, and it just reminds me just what a wonderful state we have, full of wonderful people everywhere. So thank you to the city of McAlester for your graciousness and for letting us come and spend a couple days with you.
Thank you. Next item of business, item 1395, Mr. Combs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with Title 25, Section 307B4 of the Oklahoma statutes, I move this regular public meeting of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority adjourn and reconvene an executive session for the purpose of confidential communications between the authority and its attorney regarding, in the matter of the constitutionality of House Bill 2263, Oklahoma County Case Number CV-2024-72. And Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd also like to invite the following to join us if this motion passes. Julie Kelly, Joni Seymour, Trent January.
All right, I would move to end the executive session and reconvene the authority's regular public meeting.
Thank you. We have a motion to end our executive session and reconvene to our regular meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Combs. Please, Charity, please call the vote roll.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yeah.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. That concludes our business for today. I would move that, or ask for a motion to adjourn to our next meeting scheduled for Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Dana. Charity, please call the vote roll.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yeah.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. We're adjourned.